My name is Reginald Royston. I represent part of the interpretive and social sciences aspect of research at Citrus and here at Berkeley. My project is on digital nationalism in West Africa. I'm looking at a particular set of users that I'm calling activist developers. So I'm a graduate fellow at the Berkeley Center for New Media. We're a collection of scholars, researchers, artists, engineers, and makers who look at the integration and transformation of our society using ICT, right? We've hosted a number of talks. We have the Art and Technology Lecture, which happens at least once a month every year. We've brought in scholars and practitioners such as Stellark, Sherry Turkle, Bernard Stiegler. We've hosted conferences on the digital divide and inclusion and diversity, and we're having a conference next month on online education. We offer courses on critical making, and I teach a class on internet citizenship using game mechanics in an online classroom. Our graduate students are pushing the boundaries of humanities. We have sensor-driven theater, dance, and performance. We're looking at narrative in video games. And my project, I'm a social scientist, ethnographer. I do online ethnography of virtual worlds and digital diasporas, particularly looking at technology flow with the African diaspora, the Ghanaian diaspora, living in the US and in the UK, and back to the homeland. So the story around Africa and technology, the connotation isn't very good. We think about conflict coltan, which the mineral that's used as a battery in most of our mobile devices and our gaming hardware has partly driven a conflict for the last 10 years that's taken as many as 5 million lives in Eastern Congo, Uganda, and Rwanda. You may be familiar with e-waste. Now, Africa has become a depository of second-hand, third-hand, fifth-hand computers, printers, all kinds of ICT that, while it is kind of a boon to local developers and helps, let's say, the very destitute who are picking through scrap metal in these trash heaps, it's also become a huge pollution problem. And countries such as Kenya and Ghana have started to ban the importation of secondhand computer electronics. And then you may be familiar with 419 scams or Sakawa, which are internet fraud perpetuated by users using email or chat rooms. This has led to a redlining of sorts around Ghana and Nigeria in particular, so that developers who are trying to get motherboards or storage devices can't order these online, right? They have to go through really circuitous means. So that's one story around Africa and technology. And there's yet another. We're talking about leapfrog development, the broad introduction of mobile phones and ICT that's transforming the infrastructure in Africa right now. Africa is the #1 market in the developing world for mobile phones. Around 2000, you had the number of mobile phone users surpassing landline telephone users in South Africa. So that was in 2000, when mobile penetration was still developing in the US even. Currently, there are 500 million mobile phone subscriptions all over the continent. That's up from a few 100,000 around the year 2000. Then we've had the introduction of at least 2 or 3 new broadband fiber optic ports in West Africa and in Kenya, which has increased mobile speed, let's say, from in Ghana, 5 gigs 5 years ago in terms of total bandwidth to 500 gigs this year, which is still meager compared to the US and the West. So that's one tract around development and technology in Africa. What I'm looking at as part of my dissertation are the flows in this technology. And key to that are a group that I'm calling activist developers. These are individuals who work at Google, Vodafone, some of the major mobile phone providers, Yahoo and whatnot. And in their downtime on the weekends, they travel throughout the country participating in meetups and bar camps, maker fairs, talking about innovation, developing solutions for the African economy. And what is interesting about this is not just, these are innovators at the highest level. They have competed in global competitions for apps and have won, surprisingly, in the last few years. So they're making a lot of key innovations, but their role in the transformation of society is very significant. Many of these developers have been part of digitizing the election process and creating transparency and advocating not only transparent governments, but sustainable development via environmental technology and communications, let's say, changing the infrastructure in Africa. So this dissertation really looks at innovation that's taking place on the continent. And this can transform some of our ideas about technology adoption, looking at how locally appropriate technologies can start to change how we can think about mobile technology, even here in the West. Again, the Berkeley Center for New Media is having a reception today, 2 to 4 at Citrus Hall. And if you'd like to hear more about my research, go to bit.ly Ghana Tech. Thanks a lot.